It's going all right. Okay, so thank you, ladies, all for spending some time with me here. I know you've all got busy jobs to do on that, but it's good that we can do this today in this safe environment where you've got a good safe distance. Like you say, you all know me. I'm Victor. Usually I'm the driving instructor here, but today I'll try and give you some talk about a work effectively in a business environment. So before I start, I'll just turn the computer around so I can show people that will be marking me that I've got numbers here. I hope that's going to, is it? I can't really see. It's all there. I think it's all there. All right. Like I said, today I'll be presenting to you one of the units of this competency in the course I'm doing. And this is our course in Cert 3 in Business Administration for this Cert 4 in Training and Assessment. This is the course that I've got to be doing, like I just said before, so I can start teaching the Safe Driver course, the in-class bit, once I pass, as well as doing the outside bit where I do the driving lessons. So I'll do that. And like I said, this unit of competency you'll be doing today is in working effectively in a business environment, something you're all obviously doing here in a business environment working. So what I said, this unit it describes the skills and knowledge required for you to work effectively in a business environment. This will include identifying and working to organisational standards, managing your workloads and doing work as part of a team, okay? And this is something I'm sure you all do here all the time, not that I'm not sitting in here watching you all the time. I'm usually in and out doing the driving lessons. So this hopefully will relate to you all here, and being that you all work as a team here anyway in a business environment, this is all been for JobLink Plus. Okay, so to try and put this in a more sort of structured way, I'll split the competency up into the elements and then the performance criteria for each of those elements. So what the elements means is that the elements describe the essential outcomes. So with the elements for this competency, there's 3 of them. First one's work with organisational requirements. The second one's work in a team. And the third one is develop effective work habits. So with the first element, being work with organisational requirements, there are several performance criteria. Okay, now these criteria describe the performance needed to demonstrate the achievements of the elements. Basically, these performance criteria are what you here need to be able to demonstrate to show that you've achieved such. All right, so with the first element, which is work with organisational requirements, there are several performance criteria, and I'll just go through a few of them now with you. So you need to be able to identify and read organisational requirements and responsibilities and seek advice from appropriate persons where necessary. So first of all, you need to know sort of your employees' just JobLink's responsibilities and stuff. So most of the responsibilities of your employer will be outlining whatever your contracts of employment are, workplace agreements or awards. I'm not sure exactly what you do here, but like I said, I'm just trying. Like I said, some employees do have a formal contract to sign. In this case, you would have to refer to the relevant award and or your letter of appointment for details of your employee's responsibilities. Like I said, it's your employee's responsibilities to meet the conditions of your contract or award, provide a safe environment, ensure non-discriminatory practices, take affirmative action and apply a duty of care. Okay, so this means being able to review documentation so as to identify relevant information for requirements of your job role here in the JobLink organisation. You'll also need to be able to clarify the requirements and responsibilities of your job role and organisation by using questioning and listening techniques to seek advice, information and feedback. Okay, if you have any doubt in trying to achieve this, you should seek clarification when required. Basically, as I said earlier, seeking advice from the appropriate person where necessary. Now, another performance criteria is being able to develop and utilise a current working knowledge and understanding of employee and employees' rights and responsibilities. So here you would need to complete documentation necessarily for work tasks and reporting requirement. Make sure you're using clear, concise and accurate grammar and language. For this You will need to comply with the relevant duty of care, the legal responsibilities and the organisational, like here being job link plus, goals and objectives. So here you need to recognise the organisational expectations and be able to follow the explicit protocols and procedures. So with the duty of care, and that'd be related to the Equal Opportunity Acts. It'd be about discrimination is treating a person less favourably than someone else in the same or similar circumstances. It is also illegal to discriminate against people when advertising a job vacancy and at work. And there's indirect discrimination as well. This is built into the system by, say, for example, the setting of a condition which one group can comply more easily than the other. Sexual harassment, this is its behaviour of sexual nature that is unwelcome, it's unsolicited and unprovocative. It can be physical, verbal or written. There's affirmative action. This is positive action to help remove the problems and barriers women face in the employment. And a union is an association of people in the same employment category. And award restructuring. This is when the employees and unions agree to make changes to the industrial awards, covering the way that work is organised, the range of duties employees carry out, and the training that is provided for them. Okay, so another performance criteria is being able to identify roles and responsibilities of fellow colleagues and immediate supervisors. You all need to be able to work as a team to achieve the common goal. Here, I would say, is getting job seekers into employment, giving them the tools to achieve this, while all the time having supervisors above you ensuring this is occurring effectively. Like I said, you know a lot more about it than I do, like I said, with the job seekers and stuff. So you also need to be able to identify the standards and values considered detrimental to the organisation and be able to communicate this through the appropriate channels. You need to be able is to follow clear instructions within the defined level of responsibility. Now you also have to be able to identify, recognise and follow behaviour contributing to a safe work environment. You need to adhere to OHS obligations the organisation has implemented. Like I said, even now, more or less, more now with the COVID-19, are good examples even here today where we're all spaced out and separate. Like I said, I'll just show you this is all still there. Like I said, we're keeping our safe distances and so forth. Now, like I said, with the OH&S, I'll just quickly go for a bit of the providing a safe environment as well, something I'm sure it's happened to you, you've outlined. So an important responsibility of your employee is to provide a safe and healthy place to work, as well as safe and healthy work systems and practices. This may include reporting procedures, emergency drills, safety signs and protective clothing. All employees must follow Commonwealth legislation as well as their state or territory OH&S acts and laws. Sorry, just might read that one. Like I said, and it's work healthy and safely legislation, which is WH&S. WHS legislation, it's designed to protect the health, safety and welfare of all people at work. So you therefore need to be able to know and how to access current WHS legislation and other documentation relevant to your specific workplace, occupation and industry. These documents include regulations, codes of practice and your organisation's health and safety policies and procedures. Keeping up to date with the information is essential. And one of the most recent significant changes has been the National Workplace Health and Safety reforms that resulted in the development of the Work Health and Safety Act. And like I said, even more recently now with all this COVID-19, with all the safe distancing and going out with only 2 people and not travelling or anything like that. Washing your hands, sanitising constantly. Okay, so that's all part of that. Okay, so that was the H&S, sorry. So now the second element, which is very important in any organisation, is being able to work as a team. This is where you need to be able to demonstrate that you display courteous and helpful to your fellow workers at all times. You need to be able to identify and display a non-discriminatory attitude in all engagements, with fellow staff members, with management, and also with your clients. You need to be able to recognise common differences in other people and implement basic strategies to address your own reactions to these differences. You'll need to be able to contribute to an effective working environment by communicating with others, by behaving courteously and using non-discriminatory language. As part of a working team, you need to be able to complete allocated tasks, being able to review documentation to identify relevant information for the requirements of the job role within the organisation. And like I said, working in a team. So working in a team involves behaving in a courteous and helpful manner, cooperation, mutual respect, and in a non-discriminatory manner. Positive group synergy can get jobs done more quickly if there is inclusion, control, acceptance, effective leadership, and group cohesiveness. Okay, and decisions in a team are made by authority, consensus, majority, or compromise. Okay, good. All right, so when difficulties arise, which I'm sure happens regularly, you just need to be able to seek assistance, as I said, all working together as a team. And like I said, if difficulties arise when you're carrying out your work, it's important to seek assistance before the situation gets too bad. Like I said, if you feel unable to ask for help about workplace problems, you may end up not completing the work on time and letting people down. If the problem persists, you may worry more and stress levels may increase. People may find it hard to ask for help because, say, they fear people may think them weak or too dependent on others. Could be that they fear people may think they are not competent at their jobs. Could be that they think that they should be able to handle all situations, or have a superior who is not approachable, which I'm sure you don't have your superiors here approachable. Not, I hope.
No, we're very lucky about that.
Yes, I've seen.
Extremely lucky.
All right, so the third element, and this is the third one, is develop effective work habits. So here you need to be able to identify work and personal priorities. So here, these need to be separated. Like I said, both have priorities, but they need to be separate into your work priorities and then into your personal priorities. And by separating them, it's a way to achieve a work-life balance. You don't need to be bringing any personal priorities into your work, and thus maybe then getting confused and then just blending them into your whole work priorities. You need to be able to apply time. Oh no, sorry. What was that? So sort of developing effective work habits. So developing good work habits and time management practices is often a matter of developing proper attitudes towards work and time. So people with good work habits are more successful in their careers than those who are poorly organised, and they tend to have more time to spend on their personal life as well. Good work habits are more important than ever because of today's emphasis on productivity and the quality. But it is important, however, to create a good balance between work and your personal life. Career goals you've set for yourself will fall flat if your mind or body can't keep up with competing priorities. Okay. So you need to be able to apply time management strategies to your work duties. Need to follow clearly defined instructions and sequencing, and monitoring your own progress for tasks, seeking assistance when necessary. So developing effective work habits. I'll just give you a few examples of these. This is like I say, to work effectively, you should prioritise your work schedule and use active and effective listening and questioning. You should be able to help your work more effectively. You should know your job, make sure your aptitudes, abilities and skills meet the requirements of the job and that you have the correct values and attitudes. You should organise your workspace and improve your time management strategies. And office automation has changed both the way work is done and the way workers are viewed by management. A supervisor or manager should work to overcome resistance to change and encourage the adoption of new attitudes to change in the workplace. Okay, so you need to be able to apply time management strategies to your work duties. You need to follow clearly defined instructions and sequencing and monitor your own progress for tasks, seeking assistance when necessary. So like I said, to develop effective work habits, it's to work effectively. You should prioritise your work schedule and use active and effective listening and questioning. And like I said, you should be able to organise all your workspace and improve your time management strategies. Okay, so in this element, you also need to demonstrate that you observe appropriate dress and behaviour as required by the job, which I'm sure you all do. Okay, so what we have been hearing here is the elements of each of the performance criteria within the unit of competency, and that unit of competency, which I've been doing, is work effectively in a business environment. In the performance evidence, we see that it is the evidence of the ability to, and I'm just sort of going over what I've tried to tell you here, is work with organisational requirements, which is including complying with duty of care and goals and objectives of organisations, being able to comply with legal responsibilities and seeking advice when necessary, being able to understand workers' rights and responsibilities, understanding employees, that's what I just said, rights and responsibilities, achieving a work-life and balance, like work-life balance, need to be able to work effectively in a team, which includes completing all your tasks, seeking assistance when difficulties arise, applying communication principles, and applying appropriate legislation. All right, and to complete the unit requirements safely and effectively, the individual must identify the legislation that applies to working effectively in a business environment and outline the organisational documents that are relevant to working effectively and to outline terms and conditions of employment. Okay, now with all of this, any assessment by the employee must be conducted in a safe environment where evidence gathered demonstrates consistent performance of typical activities experienced in the industry. Industry context, field of work, and include access to the relevant legislation and codes of practice, organisational policies and procedures, relevant work documentation and work resources, case studies where possible, real situations, and interaction with others. So like I said, your employer responsibilities. So most of the responsibilities of your employer will be outlined in your contract of your employment, workplace agreement or award. Some employees do have a formal contract to sign. And like I said, if your employee's responsibilities to meet the conditions of your contract, provide a safe environment, ensure non-discriminatory practices and take affirmative action, and also apply a duty of care. All right, so we're sort of coming to the conclusion of this competency. So hopefully now you're a bit more clearer picture of the various elements of being able to work effectively in a business environment. Okay, so basically, does anyone have any questions they need to ask? All good? Okay.
No, that was explained really well, thank you.
Oh, that's good, thank you, Sharon. All right, well, I think that's about basically all we have for this one. So thank you all for spending a bit of time with me. I know you're all busy, so.
No, thank you, Victor.
All right, thank you very much. Bye.